We've been gearing up for Aligned 17, which is a virtual conference dedicated to sales and marketing alignment. It's happening May 22nd through the 26th, and we wanted to do something special for B2B Growth listeners. Leading up to the event, we'll be giving you early access to some of the Aligned 17 sessions. Today's episode is exactly that. So if you like today's interview, head over to aligned17.com and sign up to access every session of the event. We've got an incredible lineup of speakers, including Gary Vaynerchuk, Jill Conrath, Tony Hughes, Tucker Max, and Trish Bertuzzi, along with dozens of other B2B sales and marketing experts. So go to aligned17.com and sign up today. You're listening to the B2B Growth Show, a podcast dedicated to helping B2B executives achieve explosive growth. Whether you're looking for techniques and strategies or tools and resources, you've come to the right place. I'm James Carberry.
And I'm Jonathan Green.
Let's get into the show. Welcome back. We are here today with Matt Benati. He is the co-founder and CEO at LeadGnome. Matt, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, James.
So Matt, I'm really stoked to chat with you today. As we were talking offline a little bit, we're going to be obviously talking about sales and marketing alignment, but really focusing in on the planning element of what you guys have done at LeadGnome that has really allowed sales and marketing to align the way they have. But before we get into that, I'd love for you to explain to the folks a little bit about LeadGnome and what you guys are all about over there.
Yeah, sounds good. So LeadGnome is a web service that came out of my experiences in sales and marketing. And the data that comes back from replies to your campaigns, your email campaigns, it's full of great information. Net new contacts, enriching data, which is the freshest kind because it's coming directly out of the accounts you're engaged with, to maintain and even append to your existing leads. Sales trigger events are all in there, like somebody's leaving the company or a title change. We even know when M&A events are happening because of expired email addresses. And so that's what LeadGnome does. It's a very simple in concept. I call it the last mile of marketing automation because nobody yet has automated the retrieval of the information in these replies. And it's great information for sales and marketing teams to grow revenue and accelerate sales.
That makes perfect sense. So just as an example, so when you send an email to someone and they say, hey, I'm leaving, but so-and-so has replaced me, LeadGnome essentially takes that information of the person that has replaced them, because they usually say their email address and that kind of...
That's right.
Basically adds that information to your CRM.
That's right. Craig Elias has done a ton of work on sales trigger events. And I don't know if you've read anything from him. Wonderful guy. And we've done a lot of work together because he used to wait for hard bounces, but a left to company email gives 6-9 months timing advantage. So you're into those deals well before your competitors. I mean, it's a slam dunk when it comes to getting into those sales cycles early.
Got it. I love it. So Matt, I want to talk about the way that you guys have done your planning and really the metrics that you guys have established, because I think this has it's played a huge part in the way that you've aligned sales and marketing at LeadGnome. So can you just start by, you talked to me before about how you break up the way that you do your planning into ideal account profiles as well as ideal buyer profiles.
Yeah.
Talk to me about what led you to doing it that way.
Right. So through my career, I've noticed a lot of misalignment, right, between sales and marketing. Yep. We all know that these tend to be siloed. It's one of the reasons that I've written many articles on account-based revenue. Nod to Trish Bertuzzi on that. Yeah. Because I want to align metrics, and revenue ultimately is the metric that we all care most about. Mm-hmm. And so that's how alignment starts. And with these two traditionally siloed organizations, I thought that ICP as a concept, while good, wasn't going to harmonize and align the teams. And so what I've done is I've said, okay, look, ICP, ideal customer profile, equals if you will. Here's a little formula for you guys. IAP plus IBP. The first one is ideal account profile.
Okay.
And I think that's traditionally what most people think about when they think about ICP. It's really based on the account.
Okay.
And then the second piece is ideal buyer profile.
Got it.
I purposely put it in that order because accounts need to come first, right? If we're going to go and we're going to build pipeline and we're going to close deals, we need to do that against our best fit accounts, right? Steal a little bit from that ABM world. And so what we do is we build up what the ideal account looks like. And I can describe that a little bit in a second.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Talk to us about what that looks like.
Okay. And then the ideal buyer profile is what typically marketing brings to the table with who are the right people within an organization to talk to, right?
Yep.
So what I love about this model, and I brought it to the initial planning stages for the sales and marketing team at LeadGnome, is because we want to make sure that sales understands what marketing has traditionally brought to the table and vice versa. Mm-hmm. And when people sort of understand each other's world, then alignment can happen.
Got it.
Okay. And so our ideal account profile focuses on a couple of things. We're looking for, first and foremost, some technologies that our prospects have deployed and are using fairly well. They have a high maturity on the marketing automation and sales automation world, right? So we're looking for customers that are Marketo customers, Eloqua customers, HubSpot customers, Salesforce customers, and that they've done the work to automate. In our case, what's most important is the email aspect, but generally speaking, the automation processes that bring sales and marketing process, that bridge that gap across, right? Because frankly, for a LeadGnome customer, if we're digging out all this wonderful information and give it to them and it just falls on the floor, it doesn't do anyone any good, right? So it has to get pushed into a system that can then automate downstream business processes to address the sales goals. I.e. revenue.
Okay.
And so we first look for that, and it's not good enough that they simply have those systems, but as I mentioned, that they're actively using those systems in a mature way. And
you guys are able to tell that based on kind of the data provider that you guys are using, or is it what are some ways that you guys are able to test that? Okay.
Yeah, it's a combination. And I think here's where marketing has helped our sales team quite a bit. So we certainly start with a data source to get those initial leads. And then, of course, we eat our own dog food at LeadGnome, right? Because we're sending emails and we're able to penetrate those accounts much more deeply and broadly to map out those accounts, right? Leveraging what we do.
Yeah.
But you have to start somewhere. And we certainly look for organizations that have Marketo, Eloqua, Salesforce, HubSpot. That's fairly easy information to get a hold of.
Uh-huh.
Most providers have that data these days. And there's even systems out there that will scan a website and report back to you, their CMS is HubSpot or Marketo is in there somewhere, et cetera. So That's fairly easy to get to. But then where marketing has really helped sales is to say, okay, listen, we can't just simply call them. I mean, that's a good piece of the puzzle, right? That's a good step. But we should be socially aware, social media aware, right? Let's go find the folks that are out there talking about these organizations and find out what kinds of systems and use cases their marketing department is talking about, right, on LinkedIn, because people within roles, they're passionate about those roles, right? So if you're a demand gen person in marketing, we happen to love demand gen people because they tend to buy LeadGnome. Are they talking about more sophisticated kinds of automation, or are they struggling with some of the bare bones things?
Got it.
And LinkedIn is a great source for that, right? What kinds of discussions are they involved in? Twitter, what kinds of discussions and are they getting wrapped in? Are they going to the events, et cetera? So there's a whole social component part of our teams, and we help each other. The event tracking, we can do that in marketing because we're going to those events.
Yeah.
Sales can look on LinkedIn and do their homework. We have weekly discussions about the accounts that we want to really engage with and build rapport with each quarter. And then we break that down in a monthly process as well, because we want to be highly aligned. And frankly, we want to get to know quickly. And what I mean by that is it's wonderful to dream that this prospect is going to land, right? We're going to close them, no problem, 60 days or whatever, and we're done.
Yeah.
But the reality is a lot different. Could be timing issues and everything else. And so it's just as important for our team in order to be efficient to rule out a particular prospect. And that could be a delay, like they're now just switching from one platform to another. Great. They're not ready for us, because they got to get the basics done. Maybe they're switching from Marketo to HubSpot or HubSpot to Marketo or whatever, but that's a all hands on deck kind of thing. They're not going to be worried about us right now. So let's reach out to them in 6 months. Or they have these systems, but they're not ready because they're not high on the maturity curve. We've learned that from a call or the social interaction or both, and that's fine too. So ruling prospects out is almost more important than zeroing in on the ones that really matter, right? Because you kind of get both.
Yeah. And so Matt, when you mentioned, every quarter you guys get aligned on the specific accounts that you guys are going after. What does that meeting look like? Is there a defined number of accounts that you guys go into those meetings saying, hey, we're looking at our top 100, our top 250, our top 1,000? And then what kind of input does marketing have in that meeting versus the input that sales has in that meeting?
Yeah, so we actually look at between 75 and 100 accounts per quarter, right? We want to be very focused about what we do. And, if we drop below, fine, we'll augment. That's easy to do as well along the way, right? We constantly are having a feedback loop. Yep. We're looking at really engaging with a small number. Frankly, we're still a small company, right? So we have some constraints there as well. And I might have mentioned to you beforehand, we've been wildly successful. We did a 5X year last year. I see no reason why we won't do that again this year. And I think that this efficiency part of what I mentioned before and how we set up for each quarter is really important here.
Got it.
And so that's certainly part of it for us.
So you come in and you've got between 75 and 100 accounts that you're looking at. What is the contribution that marketing is bringing into that meeting versus the contribution that sales is bringing in?
Yeah, it's a very level playing field, frankly, right? So sales may, along the way, have received some information from their now closed customers from last quarter that said, hey, Sally from this now closed customer has referred us to Dan at this other area. And so we have some nice pull through, if you will, right? We do a lot on inbound, right? We're a content engine here, right? We're putting out a lot of content all the time. And so we have a lot of inbound, but rather than opportunistically looking at inbound, we look at it from an account perspective. Which discussions that have been brought in through our inbound world, meet that ICP, that IAP plus IBP.
Got it.
And those come to the table too. And generally speaking, from sales discussions and, gee, this account is like that account, I have a buddy here, or I was told about this other, account from one of our closed customers now, and the inbound, we generally have over 100. And then we whittle that down so that we say, yes, this could be good, but, I know people there and I know they're not ready for us.
Got it.
So we do a little bit of whittling down, frankly, time. And now we've got our core, and then we start to build and talk about the plays we're going to use there.
Got it. And so is that typically, your VP of marketing and your VP of sales and you, or does that go deeper into both organizations? Who all is involved in those quarterly meetings?
Right. So we're still a small org, so it's fairly flat. and we have everybody in the virtual room at one time.
Got it. Okay. And then as far as, beyond that quarterly meeting, what are you doing to ensure that alignment stays consistent throughout, the rest of the weeks, outside of that quarterly meeting?
Right. It's constant discussions. Our organization is focused on really three things. One, product, right? We want to make sure that our service continues to move forward, take in customer feedback, action on it very quickly. So that's one, right? That's the basis of everything. But two, we want to make sure that we have alignment around driving revenue.
Okay.
And the third post of this is customer satisfaction. Absolutely critical. Both, myself plus sales and frankly, our marketing team, we're all reaching out either socially, through social channels, making calls, email exchanges constantly, not just with prospects, but with customers. We have a great sell-in model. We get lots of references, word of mouth. And so we, on a weekly basis, sales and marketing get together and have a discussion. How is this going? Have you heard anything from that customer? Where are we on this case study, et cetera? Because this really helps us round out our go-to-market, frankly. I can't tell you how powerful word of mouth is. I mean, I think everybody knows it, but it's so useful to us to have customers that are true advocates. And that certainly helps us. We just closed a customer in 30 days. They went through the trial. We do a free 30-day trial. Before the end of the trial, they said, let's do this. And it was a combination of great service. I like to think that we provide great service, and we consistently do. But also, one of our customers had recommended us to this organization. And so, that's a much quicker sales cycle. Generally speaking, we're more like 45 or so days. There's a trial, we have discussions, and it sort of has a little bit of lag. But when we have that extra oomph, it's very quick.
Yeah, I love it. So you're having these quarterly meetings that have a lot to do with your account planning. You're looking at the account profile as well as the buyer profile, because one is not what one organization is typically used to looking at, and kind of vice versa. So after those meetings, are there any systems or, obviously you're putting into the CRM, are you tagging things in a certain way so that as both teams are kind of going through, they're seeing conversations happening on LinkedIn on the marketing side, sales is having conversations with existing customers, maybe, getting, hearing things about, another account that could be a fit for you guys. They're documenting in that CRM, but are there certain tagging things that are happening to where when they get into that meeting, they've now got kind of, okay, this is the data I've collected in a sense for the last 3 months to bring into that call? How does that work?
Yeah, great question. So we're fortunate. We use HubSpot, and it's a seamless, we use all of their products.
Got it.
So we have the marketing portion, which runs the website and has all of the logistics for marketing automation capabilities and workflows. And we have the CRM and the sales side. And so all of my marketers and all of my salespeople have access to both sides. So it's no longer siloed. We have custom fields for certain things that are very important to us. I mentioned a couple, sort of that MarTech or sales stack component. That's really important. Tasks are outlined. We've customized our sales cycle so that everybody on the teams understands where each of these opportunities are in the progression. And we've aligned certain outreaches, if you will, along that progression.
Okay.
Right. So, have you reached out socially in the last X number of days?
Okay.
So we have workflows like that keep us honest and keep us moving, because everybody forgets, oh, gee, I've got so many accounts going, I forgot to go talk to Sally today.
Yeah.
And frankly, it doesn't matter to us whether that's one of our salespeople or one of our marketing people. We all pitch in. And because we can see those notes, we know whether or not we've had those discussions.
Got it.
So I think that's what really helps us as an organization. We're still small. We're very nimble. Our team members talk to each other on a daily basis. We have weekly check-ins, but it's really that day-to-day activity and the alignment of not just the organization, but the systems and the automation below those or within those systems, in our case, HubSpot, that helps us quite a bit.
Matt, this has been incredible. If there's somebody, if they want to dig deeper on this stuff with you, they learn more about this ideal account profile versus the ideal buyer profile and how you guys have leveraged that to see the success that you guys have seen. What's the best way for them to connect with you? But then also, if they want to learn more about LeadGnome, obviously, how can they go about doing that as well?
Yeah, so it's easy. My email is matt@leadgnome.com. Matt Benati on Twitter and LinkedIn. So I love to engage on sales and marketing alignment. I've had a long career where bringing these organizations together was not fashionable necessarily at one point, and now with ABM, ABR, ABE, very fashionable. But it's something near and dear to my heart. So I'd love folks to reach out to us. If you're interested in LeadGnome, you can come to the website. You can reach out to me. Very simple. We do 30-day trials that are free, no credit card, nothing. Just come and use it. You won't be disappointed, I guarantee it.
I love it. Awesome, Matt.
All right.
Thank you so much for your time today. This has been fantastic. I appreciate it.
Take care.
If you're a B2B marketer, we want to feature you on sites like the Huffington Post, Social Media Examiner, and Chief Marketer. Every week, we send out a question related to B2B marketing. We use the responses to those questions to fuel the content we write for really popular websites. So head over to sweetfishmedia.com/questions and sign up today.
Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.